Well, good morning, Savannah, Georgia. Good morning. It is a great morning in the city of Savannah, Georgia. We survived the St. Patrick's Day weekend, and we're still here. We're still alive. So, sun is shining outside, very bright. A little cool, but we needed that coolness. This morning we have with us again Miss Natavia, and we're gonna let her introduce herself, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about the election that just happened and and the fallout. So, Natavia, go ahead and introduce yourself, okay?
Well, I just want to just greet everyone and say good morning. Again, my name is Natavia Sanders Mobley, and I'm just excited to be able to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Let's go.
Yes. Uh, well, I looked at the races that was the presidential run that the presidents were running in, and don't look good. The
What don't
turnout,
look good?
the turnout.
What part of the turnout? Yeah, it was a very low turnout for a presidential race. But that goes to show you how people are just disappointed and they're not excited about the candidates. I mean, we got this whole 300 million plus people in America, and we have the 75 plus people, last two candidates to run. Like it's funny. So
And with I don't mind saying it, and I can say it now. We got an idiot, then we got a wise old man. So you got to make the choice between the idiot and the wise old man.
and who's the wise old man? You talking about Biden?
Yes,
Okay. I mean, he's definitely served his years in politics. He's definitely a politician. He's definitely a very mature politician for sure.
definitely mature. Uh, he uh, he surprised me with the State of the Union address because he was very sharp. I mean,
Well, he
very.
was very similar to what he did last State of the Union address. His
But everybody we were looking for him to shimmy and shake, but he didn't. He
mhm,
stayed the course, and
mhm.
got right there, and he did what he was supposed to do, said what he was supposed to say, and held up like some of these young men do.
Yeah, he kept the focus for sure. He didn't show any signs of dementia. That's for sure.
That's true. And I tell you, you know what they don't look at neither is that he has backup,
Mhm.
and he's been making deals in the Senate and every place else for years. He knows the politicians. He knows how to get to them. And what they don't look at is the fact that he's able to make those changes and do those things that need to be done if they work with him. But like everything else, you got these folk that want to do what they want to do instead of work together.
So what do you like that he's done the last 4 years? What are some of the things that you think he did well at?
Well, the latest you take it, and I don't know, and we can't say it's all because of him, but the jobless rate has fell. Uh, there are certain things with the infrastructure that's going on
Mhm.
that help that has helped the economy uh, uh, boom a little bit. But in the same token, when we think about the jobs in the economy, things are going up. So it's a the scale is not even floating even.
Hmm.
So, what are your thoughts about
Um,
that?
I I have to be careful because I don't know who I'm gonna meet one day. So make sure But overall, it's an interesting race. Like I told you before, I'd already told you. More than likely, Trump is going to be our next president. I'm looking at the Georgia polls as it relates to pulling the president, and it doesn't look good for Biden this time around. And so I'm not sure if he's going to take Georgia. So, chances are the fool that everybody keep calling fool is probably going to be our president again. And I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm a numbers person. And realistically, yeah, we want a Democrat to stay in office, but realistically, we have to make Biden a stronger candidate. And so, everything I've seen with his performance over the last 4 years and his platform is basic. It's nothing that is going to really draw those people that he needs to. So I'm hoping that his campaign people will help beef it up a little bit more to where we can get people excited about something. I mean, last time people were excited about the student loan forgiveness that didn't happen. So now you got a whole lot of disgruntled people, um, you know, towards that because he did make it as though it was a sure thing that people were going to get that relief from student loans. I know some relief happened, but that was more the biggest thing that people were pushing and thought he was going to do, and it didn't happen.
Well, we in this particular campaign, it wasn't pushed like it usually be pushed. Number one in the state
Mhm.
of Georgia,
Mhm.
we've got to get out and get the people out into the streets and do the work that needs to be done to get them hyped
Are they
up.
going to send the money, the funds to be able to do that canvassing that's needed? That's
And
the issue.
that's the issue. That's the issue. That is the big issue. Whether or not the
Mhm.
funds are going to be there, the Democrats are going to have to either do it or get off the pot.
But as an organizer and as a person that regularly canvass, I'm still not sure what I'm going to go out there and canvas to convince people that are attentively watching about why they should vote for Biden again. And yeah, there's infrastructure being that's been put in place. Money for that. Like I said, the student loans. He's doing something with immigrant. Matter of fact, I just read that he's even allowing a partial wall to be built because the immigration and migrant problem is so bad. Did you know that?
Yeah, you know, when we look at that's a problem any way we look at it. Whether you build a wall or you don't build a wall.
Well, he's building a
It,
partial wall after we did all that talk about Trump and his wall.
it was, that's what I'm saying. It's a problem because if you look at it, the more people we get over here, we keep getting people every day, and we don't have no place for them.
Well, but you know what I learned and I didn't know? Do you know that there's a difference between the immigrants and the migrant
What's
people?
that?
Did you? Well, the migrant people come here seeking asylum, meaning that somehow we as a country have promised that if they make it to America, they can find safety here if their country is in disarray and they need to get out of it. And so, with those people, when they come to us, we put them up in hotels, expensive hotels, spend a lot of money on them coming in and taking care of them. And I didn't even realize that. Yeah, it's a difference from migrant and immigrants.
Yes, well, I didn't know all that now. But if you look at what goes on now, and you look at, like you say, the migrant workers the people come into America, they live a better life than we do.
That's what
Because they
I'm
come in,
saying.
yeah, they come in, they give them money to open businesses. They give them money to buy houses. They get money to do all kind of things. We here scuffling, can't make ends meet, and then they get they get the best of it. Then we complaining about, well, we can't make no money, we can't do this and we can't do that. And I look at some of the immigrants here. That's the way we used to be when they brought us across from Africa. We did everything we could. We did all kind of work in order to be free.
Well,
And
no, they brought us here to work, and because they didn't steal slaves, they stole skilled men, skilled people. They stole scientists and mathematicians and all type of skilled people that knew how to survive on the land, whatever land they were on. So we basically, paid the debt for America, and then some. We built America, so we didn't earn no freedom in that sense of working. More so, we still are due our reparations for our ancestors' free work and all of that. So yeah, I don't look at us as we did this and did that, but we were brought over here for that specific purpose. Everything is an economic thing. When you look at all of the racism, and it's always tied around economics. So we were definitely a plus. I mean, we were listed as livestock with the livestock. That's how big of an asset. During the times, we were the biggest assets that America had. Slaves, skilled slaves.
and so many of us complain the fact that they say that we're free, but we're not free because we're in economic slavery. I don't care how you look at it, we're in economic slavery. They're holding us down, keeping us at a certain pay where they want us to be at. We can't grow unless they want you to grow, unless you have a way that you can outdo them. And we have to learn to stand together so that we can get out of this economic situation. But until we learn how to stand together, we'll never get out of this economic slavery situation.
Well, it's all by design. It's all methodical. It's all systematic, and we have to understand that there is a quest to keep us as the underclass citizens to be able to keep the capitalism system going and to continue to allow the old money to grow, because we are still directly connected to the old money. The black people in this country don't have a group economics, a base, a market that they control, similar to the Asians, like how they control the hair market and stuff like that. We don't have anything. We're just attached to a lot of the old money systems, and therefore when we do gain some kind of financial freedoms, believe me, the old money is gaining them as well. And so you think about that. Well, how do we disconnect or center ourselves? First of all, we have to first start back in an entrepreneurial mind and not just think we have to work for people. And so they've turned entrepreneurs into workers, and that's one of the biggest issues. But honestly, everybody in the rest of the world laugh at us as Black Americans, because honestly, I read the statistics. We are the richest Africans on this planet.
Wow. Uh,
And we study stimulating the American economy. We don't use our funds to reach over to Africa because we don't really know how to connect like that. I have had African friends that have had the best of education coming from different countries, and they have told me, they say, well, honestly, they teach us to hate the blacks before we even come over here. That's why we never hook up with you. So there has to be something intentional to where we are really saying we want to create that economic base, that group economics that's not there, that will demand our respect and will allow us not to continue to be the second class citizens that even President Abraham Lincoln was quoted saying. He'll let us be free, but he never want us to be superior over the white race, that he felt that we needed to remain inferior over the white race. So that was our good old Abe saying that. And it's working. We're still an inferior class when it comes, and we've been in this country too long to be that. Everybody else is coming into this country, migrating into this country, and focusing on the economics and the entrepreneurship that comes and allows you to have that freedom that we keep saying we don't have, but that's because we don't have that freedom in our group economics to be able to demand certain respects and demand certain things to go a certain way. We're always just taking the crumbs of the big piece and being said, oh, we got something. No, that's not enough.
You said something just a minute ago about entrepreneurship, and when we go and try to get into our own businesses, and we start investing in our own businesses, they make it so hard for us to get into our own business and do our own thing. And a lot of time we make it hard on our own people because when they go into business, we come looking for a hookup. And the hookup, you know, is not there at the beginning, period. You know, you've got to come out of the box working like and you got to work like a dog to get out of the box. And we have people come looking for the first thing. Man, I need you to do this favor for me. I need you to do that favor for me. We can't go to the companies and buy truckloads of goods like they can. But and that's what I mean when I say there is a need, for cohesiveness. Because if you got 3 or 4 stores in the in the city, and y'all need the same product, you ought to be able to get together.
It's commercial time, is what I'm saying.
And make one big order. If you make one big order, then you can make it a little bit cheaper than trying to buy piece by piece, buying piece goods. If you wanted to buy, let's say, 25 cases of canned goods, and it's store to buy 25 cases of canned goods, you get a truckload of canned goods, and then just work off them.
Right. Well, we have to take a commercial break, so we'll finish that.
Yep.
I got to reply to that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I'm not Jerome. Listen,
But I think we can
I have
have
been
some
on
good
it.
content.
Well, no, I've been able to do magic in my prior years, but Jerome stepped away to handle some business really quick. So, how you doing, Natavia?
I am great. Why don't we have a Black Wall Street right now? It's been since 1921.
In what sense do you mean? So and the reason I'm a big person on context. So Wall Street and as in Wall Street, New York, or Wall Street as in space?
No, as in the Wall Street that was destroyed in 1921.
Okay.
That has not yet been rebuilt and it's now 2024.
So you're speaking more of small business driven type.
No, I'm thinking more of
that's what I'm saying. Let's get into the context.
I'm thinking more of the city that was in place with Black economics, Black entrepreneurs,
right,
and Black people, depending on the needs from Black people that was able to fulfill them. I'm saying if we have gained all these freedoms
right
in
right.
America, since then, 100+ years. Why
Yeah.
hasn't anything like if they were able to build that without all of that? Why can't that be built now? We're
Well,
seeing different immigrant groups coming in, and they're able to grab and be able to lead a market in group economics. Why
right, right,
us? Why
right,
us, the richest Africans in the world,
right.
literally haven't done that?
Well, there's so many factors, and Jerome wanted me on the shot. He think it was slick. That was your motive. Um, but let me begin with this. There's so many factors to that have created that issue, right? The first one is, as a community, we've got to understand the issues that divide us and overcome those. That's the first thing. And for example, I'll speak on some communities I've lived in, from Atlanta to Savannah,
Mr.
all the way up
Bryant,
to
it's
yeah,
really hard to hear you. I don't know whose background that's got all that people.
yeah.
Is that yours or
Well, I'll
his?
go for about Jerome. Jerome, you might
Okay.
go to the next table.
No, 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 no. Don't move. All he need
No,
to do
no.
is mute
Well,
while you're talking. Mute
okay.
while you're talking.
So,
Somebody mute.
hold on
Yeah.
one second. Turn your volume on.
Okay.
So what I'll start back with is this. So the number of factors that contribute to what you just asked about. One is, we as a community won't be cohesive for a number of reasons. And so I'll go to the next one. Is the fact that we've got to get involved with policy and decision making, right?
Hmm.
There are a number of cities like Atlanta where we kind of got an understanding of that, and
Hmm.
by guiding policy, right, you're
Hmm.
protecting your investments of small businesses, and we're able to make zoning laws and things like that. So we got to get involved in those policy spaces, and that's through voting as well. And I think the third thing is, we've got to start demanding resources. It
Hmm.
bothers me that we can send so much to Ukraine and all
Hmm.
these other countries, but we got
Hmm.
folk over here hungry, homeless, and
Hmm.
by the way, y'all destroy black businesses. And I'm not. When I say this, folk gonna get mad, but it's real. White folk have taken the land from Native Americans, and white folk have taken our businesses and destroyed them. Are we going to continue to let them do that or not? Now we can't continue. We can't say that that's a broad spectrum, but those are the three things I think we've got to kind of prioritize if we're ever to rebuild like we should.
Hmm. Agree.
Some of the greatest minds that we have in the world come from us.
Hmm.
We have the mind to do what we need to do. We just have to do it. We have to be. We have to set ourselves out to do it. If you look back and through history,
Hmm.
all the great the pyramids, all this has been built by us.
Right. I mean, our DNA proves that it traces back to a woman, a black woman. So we know that we've been here longer than pretty much any other ethnic group. That's not debatable. Everybody knows that in this world. But overall, why are we not? I'm talking about we as an Americans, because we supposed to have all this power. We do have money. When you think about, when I go and I look at other countries, like I shared an example on Facebook last night of somebody getting a hip replacement in Spain for $7,000, but it costs $40,000 here. So it's same
Yeah.
replacement, same thing. But so then that goes to show that all these other countries, they don't use as much money like us to do the same things that we do. So therefore, we are very wealthy. Like I've asked Uber drivers that's been, what do you do with your racism here? I don't. I make money. I make money. Like I come here to make money. I'm not dealing with the foolishness of America. I'm just here to make money and send it back to my country. And
Hmm.
if we can get that kind of mind state to say, hey, we're tired of being an underclass, the second, being put into the inferior status of citizenship with the mass majority. Yeah, we have a lot of successful people, but it's not in that majority. And I'm just trying to understand why we're not pulling together. And I know it's a lack of unity and a lack of trust and all that other stuff, but the other ethnicities have the same problem. So when I
Well,
heard
well,
that excuse, I
look,
just can't accept it.
I'm gonna disagree here. We as a community don't do a good job of sharing who we are down the line. And I'll use Native Americans for example. Native Americans, like you said, very much similar issues in their culture, but they do a good job of what passing knowledge along, right? When you understand who you are and where you come from, there's a different value, right? One of the things, even in my own family, on my father's side, we didn't do a good job of tracing our lineage. So I don't really know a lot about anybody past my grandparents. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to start passing those stories along. It's so funny now that this generation coming up, they'll probably know about the George Floyds, the Trayvon Martins, the Ahmaud
Mm-hmm.
Arbery, but they won't understand a lot about the Harriet Tubmans and the Martins and the people that come before them and the inventors. How many of us even knew that the majority of things in what we see today are invented by black folk? When
I
you
did.
understand that concept, when you realize, and I wish Dr. Toure was on this, when you realize what your lineage and what you come from and what you're connected to, you have a different appreciation for who you are. That I think will help us to become a little more united. Because if one person can invent a stoplight, what can a collection of us do?
Right. Right.
You know,
And
when
and
we
and
when we start to look at it like that, but I've often said that sometimes our smartness is our weakness. If you understand what I'm saying, we got it here, and we know what we want to do, and we know how to do it because we're going to find a better way to do what we're doing.
mm-hmm.
But while we find a better way, when we're letting something slip by us, and that's why we need each other. Because what I let slip by me, you may catch. If you miss it, then Robert will catch it,
Mm-hmm.
and we can collaborate on what is being done to us and how to combat what is going on to us.
So then basically a lot
Like
of the
crime.
effect,
Go
right.
ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
no, so I was going to say a lot of the effective change came through legislation. It's like we have to legislate our rights and our freedoms and all of that. So I'm gonna actually kind of go back to the presidential race now. Since you're on here, did you know Cornel West was running for president?
Yeah,
Did you
he's
see Did you see the platform?
I saw parts of it. Honestly, I heard part of your earlier conversation. I almost want to vote for him, but I also know what that means.
Right.
I'm very serious. I don't. While I am a registered whatever Democrat, I want to really vote for him, and I may just do that. But I actually like what I like his perspective.
Yeah. I mean,
So we're
it's
doing
like
the same old,
I
same
mean,
old.
what he wants makes it clear. Like I'm looking at it now. He's like abolish poverty. How do we abolish poverty? Say what we feeding all these other countries. Abolish homelessness. How do we abolish homelessness? Fill some of these empty buildings. Like it's not hard. We America. Um, Establish federal public banking institutions to fund public infrastructure and green reconstruction. Establish a federal universal basic income commission. Wealth tax on billionaire holdings and transactions. End all tax loopholes for the people. National $27 minimum wage. Now that's all stuff we be fighting for a little extra dollar. So I mean, what he's asking for would actually really, if we did it, fix the issues that we keep saying in
Right.
equality and equity and all of that. But why don't we do it? Because we're studying trying to make the rich
Well,
richer. It makes no sense.
it goes back to economics, and I forgot what I was talking about this week. TikTok. Y'all think
Mhm.
about this, and it didn't dawn on me. The only reason this whole TikTok ban thing started coming about was when Kellogg's cereal was having issues with the boycott. So
Mhm.
then I thought about it. I was like, you're right. Until these big wig, gigantic corporations who control the politicians are silenced or neutralized, the third party candidate won't have a choice because what's going to happen? Economics is going to step in the way. Propaganda happens, and with propaganda, 90% of people are not going to go test or think beyond what they see on the TV, right? And so it's sad, but big business has become the giant animal we got to slay before we even really start having some reasonable conversations because the money controls the politicians, and then we don't go
So
forward, so we're back in the same cycle.
And so that's where I don't even look to try to fight that way for real anymore, but study try to reach, because you think about the Marcus Garvey movement. That movement was funded with change.
Hmm.
Change. Whatever the people had, if they had a little less than a dollar, they gave it. And those added up and added up. And we always, what we don't do, we fail to get started because we have these long-term plans that we can actually start with a short-term plan. I've talked to some of the Middle Easterners in their stores. They have big beauty supply stores, and
Yeah.
they've told me their story. People say they get these loans and all that. No, I came with $5,000, the same $5,000 that everybody be getting from their earned income and all that every year. I came with $5,000. This is what he told me. I bought some products. I sold that. I bought more products. I sold that. I bought more products. I sold that. I bought more products. And that's how it goes. You got to do the work.
Yeah. That's what it takes. I
So
mean,
we can sit and we can point fingers and say, "Oh, they got the economics, they got this, and we can't do nothing." Yeah, we can. We
well,
cannot fight
no, I'm not saying
big
we can't do
business
that.
economics.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying about the economics is economics run everything.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's
But
our
here's the
issue.
problem. Here's the problem. Me and Jerome and you decide we want to open a store. We get along, all is well. Somebody in the community, or who they think they are, or they think they're better than them, and then you got that issue. Then you got other people. Well, their product's not this, and that. So we, as again, we don't understand where we come from. There was a time when my father was growing up, and the community was engaged. It was tied together. And so you did something bad, we're going to correct it. You did something good, we're going to celebrate it. We don't do that anymore. We get mad over silliness, and that's what I'm saying. We don't understand who we are. When you understand who you are, there's a whole different sense of community that comes with that, right? Even now with politicians, how dare you go? If a black person say, "Let me go," I'm going to vote for Trump. We have a whole fit. We have a whole fit. But I'm gonna say this, and I want to get y'all's opinion. I think one of the worst things that happened to the black community was the black church.
Say that again.
One of the worst things that happened to the black community was the black church. I'm gonna just leave that there. And we can talk more about it, but let me just leave that there. Let me see what y'all's thoughts are on that.
Hold on, let me pull my cross out real quick. Hold on.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying it's bad,
Okay,
but it has been
okay.
detrimental.
This cross been on my neck for
Well,
about 6 years now. So
I would say that in the communities, we forgot. A lot of them forgot what they're supposed to be doing. They forgot to uh, make sure that they're serving instead of being they're serving instead of being served.
I need him to explain that comment. You said the
Hmm?
worst thing happened is the black church. You know I
Well,
was
one
gonna
of the
let him.
a detriment to the
And you
community.
got before the break, you got less than 5 minutes because the break will be happening in less than 5 minutes. But I need to understand why the black church is the worst thing, because that's the
I
only
didn't say
thing I see
well.
that.
Let me qualify that. Let me
And
change
wait a
that. Not
minute,
the
I'm gonna
word.
just say this point before you say that. But
Yeah, yeah.
if nothing else, the church promotes moral values that I see is lost within our community. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I question moral values. When we got churches out here that you will see the pastor driving the best car, but you got a parishioner with the lights out. That's not moral to me. When you got members in you got community members and folk that look like us hungry, but you are building up an endowment. So I question the morality of that. What I mean by that is there was a time when the black church was a place of community, outreach, support, advancing the movement. We don't even see pastors now. No, I have seen pastors get involved politically to hurt another candidate.
Mhm.
That ain't of
Yeah.
the Bible, Christian, and whatever. I don't know, maybe it's a new theology that's out there, but I want us to recalibrate across the community, even individuals. We got to recalibrate because if we're ever to be that communal, collegial, connected community, there's got to be a lot of healing, self-reflection, and just hard conversations.
I
Black,
think
let me
it's
go
got
back
to
to the
be
black
a
church. The
lot of
black church.
respect for our
Oh, we
different.
go to the black church. The black church with LGBTQI community. We don't support it. So how are we going to say we want to be connected, but we're going to shun folk when we want to, or we want to make what's right right because we say it's right?
And where I'm at in my position when I deal with people, I like to respect everyone for their differences. I like to, because I'm nobody. I can't run anyone's life, so I have to respect them for their differences. So that's something that you're right that we don't do well, especially leaders, and it should be. People should be respected for their differences.
Well, let me say this to you, to both of y'all. They found a way to intimidate
Mm,
the pastors of the church by this church and state separation of church and state.
mm,
Then they came out with the 501c3, which helps everyone. But then they say, well, you can't say certain things,
mm.
and that hurt. They knew what they were doing when they did it because they were trying to hush the people up. But as ministers, you got to be able to say what is right and what is wrong. You can't get out of there and just leave and then uh, say anything that they want. They say everything they want you to say and not what the people need to hear. That's all I'm saying.
No, I thought you left. I said Jerome, but you know what, Natavia, I give him credit on that because I love all that type of knowledge. I mean, you're exactly right. Again, it goes back to that policy. Policy, policy just makes the framework just interesting, right? And so that's huge because I can look at a number of churches and who will lean more into the 501c3 and less on the salvation, which is odd to me because the 501c3 should be guiding your work, the ministry and the foundation. But
And we always say in the church, but think about what we call the church. Who is that church? What we see now in this generation, we had some really core, strong leaders back in the 60s, but they either made them political prisoners, assassinated them, or ran them into exile somewhere. So we don't see those real leaders coming up that should be leading. So we got a bunch of demagogues that's leading. So when you talk about them leading, and most of them are leading for themselves and for whatever purpose. So it's a shame that it's penetrated the church, and we even have that in pastors and different ones as well. And the churches are not being that village system that you talked about earlier that they should be, but there are some that are. And there are many community groups that are there. You talk about the pastor driving a good car and the member not driving such a good car. Believe me, that's always been. Think about it. The middle class pay most of the taxes here in this country. And the poor people give most to everything because guess what? There's always some kind of poverty around poor people that they have to help. I've been in the communities. I purposely assimilated myself into inner cities just to feel it because coming in, being a do-gooder from the outside, you don't understand like you do when you're in the inside. You don't understand how important it is to be that neighbor that can provide a cup of sugar or a cup of laundry detergent. Like literally, I've experienced that. And it's just like, oh wow, and people be so thankful. Oh, I can wash a load of clothes because I didn't have money to buy laundry detergent. Laundry detergent was $7, but that's what people, and so poor people are helping poor people every day, all day, more so than the people who really could help and make a difference.
All right,
all right.
All right, we're back. Now we were talking about poverty. Let me. This yesterday, I was looking at the news. Our mayor going around feeding the senior citizens. It was something sad that I don't think nobody paid any attention to. They interviewed one lady and she said 5 days a week she eat from meals on wheels. The other 2 days she depend on someone bringing her. Thank you, dear. Bringing her something to eat. The city of Savannah spends money on a whole lot of things. Why can't we spend money for those 2 days to keep these people fed? That was something that I don't think nobody picked up on. That lady said she had to depend on somebody else to feed her.
So her income is that low, she can't buy groceries, or she doesn't have the ability to prepare her meals.
She can't get up and cook no more. So
and there's no and see, I noticed that Georgia is not as liberal as Illinois. Illinois has home care people that do that for people and all that. That's not there in Georgia.
And we don't know how many people in our neighborhoods are like this. That's the thing.
But I'm asking you, is there a program, because we don't have that issue in Illinois. There's plenty of programs, plenty of money for home care.
Let me offer this. It goes back again to policy. It's the bureaucracy of it all, right? I'll use this example because I'm dealing with it now with my mother who's with Alzheimer's and I'm the primary caretaker. Just to understand how to get things paid for is so much red tape, right? And so, again, what I want people to realize is this. We as Black folk are in a system that we're operating that was never designed for us to operate for in the first place. So let's understand that. Now, we go back to policy, right? So just to get basic needs for her, I got to take a day and a half of my life to figure out the red tape. So you got folks out here hungry, or a veteran with mental illness who can't find housing. And then now we got this crime problem when it's our own fault because we got ignorant folk in these offices that don't do what they're supposed to do. So I enjoy your question. Well, there probably are programs, but we got to start thinking differently, right? Community gardens so we can feed our folk. Being able to lend our services, at a pro bono type of basis at times to help our community. That's the type of community engagement we got to get back to.
Well, you keep talking about the village system. So, I mean, right now, a lot of the neighborhoods, or they're just being neighbors, they're not being community, they're just coexisting together. And at first we had that village system and we don't have that. And honestly, with all the stuff that the media puts on TV, it actually got everybody scared of each other too. That's part of the reason, that communities are not communities no more and people mind their business and all of that. I wrote a piece back in the day called The Closed Blinds. I mean, I grew up in an era where everybody grandma was in the window looking at what was going on in the neighborhood and wasn't afraid to tell. And so we don't have the village system anymore. So therefore there's no promotion of morals, there's no promotion of anything anymore so basically we have a drain of our community. So the people that could be influencing, they're not there anymore. The good role models, only the bad predator role models are there. You can find somebody on the corner at any time, and they'll give you a job if you need it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's the only job you can get without filling out an application and all of that. And it's a shame. And believe me, when those people, especially the young people, they're in the house with their parents, and you talk about how these parents can't get control of these kids. Well, these kids are making $1,000 a day, and you ain't even making that in 2 weeks. So they looking like, okay, I'm doing everything for myself. What I need to listen to you for, and that's an issue.
Yeah, so, and to your point, and I'm very different. So I look at street pharmacists as small business owners. They are small business owners, whatever.
I wrote a paper on that. I do too. I see the entrepreneurship. Yeah. They got to think. They got to turn their profit. They got to do all the stuff.
If you telling me, you put me in a situation, in a system that's not designed for me, you put me in a situation I'm trying to climb the ladder, but you keep pushing me back down. You know, you don't have people that look like me in the classroom. You don't have people that look like me in different spaces, but yet you want me to succeed. Now, let's fast forward. Now, I have a family and I got a child to feed, and you want to employ me. What you think folk gonna do?
Well, I take risks, but not those risks that's going to incarcerate me. I
But
mean,
if you-
it's all about risk, but I ain't.
No, I agree, but somebody who's hungry is gonna
Somebody
eat.
was home, and that's what I've seen. I actually witnessed being
Yeah.
in the neighborhood, a kid that was trying to do the right thing. You see
Mhm.
him resisting, but after so long, his little sister hungry and his mom on drugs. So guess what? I'm gonna go do what I have to do to make sure we okay. You know, and
Yes,
I get that,
that's it.
but it ain't gonna hold up in the court of law. Yet and
It's
still,
not
and
a
that's
court.
why if we're missing those grandmothers and different ones that was feeding the neighborhood, and all the kids can pile up and it's a big pot of something, everybody can eat whatever the deficit, because like I was telling him last show, there are so many deficits within these communities, and that then it's like a if then statement. If this deficit is in place, then these crimes are going to happen as a result of
Yep.
it. You know, bottom line. And so understanding that we've done all these studies. I mean, they got so many studies of us and our habits, and I'm talking about Black people in America, and they know exactly how to fix it. And like I said, Cornel West, go back and look at his platform.
I
Everything
definitely will.
within that platform is exactly what's needed to make America a whole for everyone, not
You
just
want to
us.
say great again?
No, I didn't say great again.
You want to
Because
say,
if we want to make America great, honestly, and you know what, I ain't got no problem with Trump. I can't wait for him to come back because I love the White House briefings. So I can't wait for the White House briefings to come on. It was that was my soap opera for the day every time. It was like, oh, he's gonna get these reporters. Reporters come and fight him. But overall, you know, we just gotta pull together and understand that this thing is systemic and is methodical. The same systems that worked in
Yes.
slavery is still in place, and it's just been modernized. You know, I see these inner cities, and I'm actually working on a book right now called Franchise Plantations, and I see these as franchise plantations. It's no different if you go back through the history, and I prove
love
this
that.
with history. You start from the beginning to the end. It's
I like
literally
it.
franchise plantation. When they had us migrate from the South, they had us migrate into these cities, and that's what Martin Luther King seen when he got to Chicago. He was like, okay, whoa, because in the state of Illinois, they have a place for us. We only live on the outer skirts of Illinois. The rest of Illinois is white for real. You know, and so, you know, you got your Chicago on one end and you got your East St. Louis on the other end, and the rest of it is middle is white. And you know why it's still white? Because they had sundown town. So when they was telling us to come for the opportunity, freedom, come up here to Illinois from the South, come on, bring your family, all that. They had a place for us. It was called low-wage labor to keep us in place as second-class citizens in America, because they knew they still needed our labor. Our labor is what created America. Our skills is what created America. So they said, you know, you talk
Let me
about,
ask you-
they say what to do with the, I'm going to say this in the end, what to do with the Black person, leave them alone. And no, and America is not going to leave us alone to actually build our own group economic base. That's the issue.
Let me, you know what? As you were talking, I don't know what shifted my mind to this. Talking about cohesion in the Black community. Why is it so hard? Well, we will go support Biden before we go support Cornel West.
Because we are. So your question was why we support Biden over Kanye over, I'm gonna say
Not-
Kanye
well,
West.
listen, I get that one. I get the comment.
That's my boy too now, Kanye. Everybody
I love him.
Kanye.
Yeah, I love the brother. I'm like, nah, but you.
But that's the condition that America has told us. That's a process. They're okay. We've been conditioned to go along. The big Black vote goes to the Democrats right now, and it hasn't been changed because the Democrats at least give us what I call non-economic liberalism. They don't give us anything that we can really pull ourselves up by our bootstrap. They give us non-economic liberalism. Oh, y'all want to work a little while? We got a couple jobs for y'all here and there. And now that the ones that was barking ain't barking no more. The ones that should bark, too scared to bark, and so forth. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going off it.
Okay, Mr. Brown, Mr. Irwin. I call you Charlie Brown. Look at.
All right.
Oh
now,
no,
what-
you understand? You got to know my position
Sorry.
here. I started with Julius and Charlie Brown, so believe me, I'm
Oh, you know,
just
Mr. Man, that's my boy. No, let me make you laugh, Mr. Brown. I got to tell it. So, Mr. Brown, my mother taught Mr. Brown when he was in fourth grade, and then my dad was a scoutmaster. So I'm just like, how so crazy full circle, right?
Yeah. So
But you know, they used to tell me, said, we give you a hand up. I don't want a hand up. Give me a hand. And I'll give you a hand out. I know. Give me a hand up. I don't want a hand out.
they just paid out reparations to some Jewish people for some stuff that didn't even happen in this country. We sleeping, y'all.
Yeah,
We sleeping.
you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
Like I said, think about they said that the average black person is due if the reparations was paid out, everyone would become instant millionaires. Everybody, oh, they'll just spend the money. So what? Look at all the white people who got these inheritances and just ran through their money. That's on them. But what I do know is.
Hold on, let's go back. Let's go back to when when he took the natives' land, right? Then we go to here's another part of it. So there are many pieces. What you just said is right. It wasn't no inherited; they took it. So we look at even the whole conversation around cannabis and marijuana. If you go back and look at why cannabis and marijuana are illegal, it's because William Hearst and a number of other people were out here like, nah, that's bad. It made people crazy.
We don't have those problems in the state of Illinois. That's Georgia still ain't did what they need to do. We don't have those problems in the state of Illinois or Missouri. So,
I mean, it's in competition with their products. So anything that's going to be in competition with my product, and I got the privilege and power to make it illegal, why not?
But also, you got to understand also what drugs do. Not only keeping it illegal for that, but it also allows a lot of people to have those crime convictions that they make money off of too. Again, everything surrounding all the racism and everything that people call racism is all surrounding economics still. It's all a pitch to keep the economics in a certain demographics. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the vulnerable community, and we have a deep discussion going on this morning. We're here at Kim's Restaurant, downtown, 714 MLK Boulevard, Savannah, Georgia. We've had a great show this morning. We're going to give both of y'all 2 minutes to make y'all a winding up statements, because y'all set it on fire this morning. But next week, we're going to be on fire all over again. We're going to have some great folks on here next week. We're gonna have Miss Shirley James from the Herald. We're gonna have Miss Pat Harris from the Deltas. We're gonna have Wanda Mosley from Black Voters Matter. All gonna be on the same show next week. We want y'all to tune in, because it is going to be one hell of a show.
Oh, he cussing, telling you getting fine, but I'll end with this. You know,
but y'all go ahead and Ms. Natavia, go ahead and close make your closing.
I'm gonna let him do it first.
Okay. I'll go back. I don't know why my mind went here, but I want people to start thinking back to days of, the Harriet Tubmans and Rosa Parks, and way back when folks had no choice but to work together. Now we have allowed ourselves to give ourselves a choice to work individually. If we work collaboratively and get back to the days of supporting ourselves, understanding who we are, we will realize what Dr. King was talking about, and that is what impacts you will impact me, and what impacts me will impact you in some kind of way. That's a very deep quote. And so I want us to get back to being self-reflective and understanding what does it really mean to be a community.
Okay.
Right.
And so I want to close with this. What I've understand through my studies of history, I understand that what we call integration wasn't really integration, but we really assimilated. And assimilated where we wasn't able to keep our unique cultures and our unique habits and even our unique entrepreneurships at this point. And we have to find a way to get back to that. We have to find a way to find our identity and really integrate us into America, because it still hasn't happened. It's a smoke screen of saying that what they call integration is the integration, but I'm very sure, and I have the history to prove that it's assimilation. I'm done.
Folks, we can sit here and we can talk all day long, but what we need is some bold leaders. Mm-hmm. We need some leaders like leaders we used to have, unafraid to step out there. And I know somebody's gonna say, "Well, why don't you do what we do?" You're talking. The leaders are talking right now, but we need more leaders. We need people who are not afraid to stand up and say what's right and what's wrong. And we have to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk all at the same time. We can't expect our people to stay in the same place if somebody don't step out front and start leading. So with that being said,
But just to add to that point, we got to also quit selling each other out, because those bold people, what they find is I done had so many people offer me money and try to pick me off to shut me up. So not only do you need to be bold, but you have to be also uncompromised and not sell your people out for your comfort.
Yeah. I would say that you're right about that. And like when you said uncompromised, a lot of people don't understand that, but you can't be bought. And that's where a lot of our leaders leave us at, being bought, being intimidated by the dollar. We don't need leaders that are intimidated by the dollar. We need leaders who are going to stay there and fight for what is right for us, not for putting something in their pocket, because people will slip that dollar to you and make you think you're doing something and you ain't doing a doggone thing but bringing your people down. So with that being said, we're going to leave it with Savannah this morning, and we're going to tell everybody thank you for being with us. Y'all had a great show this morning. The vulnerable community brought it to you this morning, and we're going to bring it to you next week and the week after and the week after that. We've already lined up the people for the show, so we're looking forward to having y'all with us the next couple of weeks. Be with us 10 o'clock Tuesday morning. We'll see y'all then. Bye now.
Like that.